Here we are in front of the Caneyville High School. This is where my dad went to high school, and he had a farm out here with his folks, my grandpappy, and they milked cows and grew tobacco out there, kind of a rundown, rough-looking place nowadays, but this is his high school here, and he got me into basketball. They were called the Purple Flash here in Caneyville back in the day, and basketball was big here in Kentucky back in the late 50s, and he was part of those teams, and I played college basketball, but was almost going to go pro, but wasn't quite good enough. He always talked about gold out there in Pine Knob, and we're going to go out there and take a visit, poke around a real interesting place. A lot of history out there.
Back in the 1800s, we don't know the exact date, but I'd say the middle to late 1800s, there was a gentleman owned the farm here and owned this cave, and his name was Dick Galloway. Well, he raised tobacco, of course, as all farmers did back in those days. And one year he grew so much tobacco that he didn't have enough barn space to house his tobacco in to cure. So he brought the tobacco up to this cave, and he hung tiers and so forth in here and hung his tobacco in here. So ever since then, this cave has been known as Dick's Tobacco Barn. This is actually the house that I was born in. It actually sat in the far corner over there all the time that I was growing up here. I converted this into a diner the year we opened our theater in 1987, and I built this back. There used to be a little screened-in back porch here, and I tore it off and I built this onto it so I could have a place here to feed people that came to the show. We ran this and have been running this the summer months that we have the theater open. One of the other things that I grew up with, and as we traveled to California our first time in 1958, was the old eat signs, the neon eat signs. You don't see many of those anymore. That's something that I remembered as a child, and I wanted to recreate that and add that to our diner, so that's one of the reasons I put that back up.
This is the Pine Knob Outdoor Theater.
Right.
Quite the setup here. Well, she's all closed up right now for the winter, huh?
Yes, we, of course, have permanent seating, and we can seat 500 here at the theater, but when the season ends, we put these tarpaulins over the seats to keep them dry for the next season. Now, our set down here consists of a log cabin, and it's actually a rotating cabin. It's on wheels, and it revolves around, and when you turn it around, it's a 50s diner, because not only do we do plays about the 1930s and the 1840s, but we also do plays about the 1950s as well, and of course about Caneyville School, where your father went to school.
You know, my grandpappy, he talked about playing checkers on the porch. That was something that I always wanted to do, was play checkers on the porch.
I think that
at
could
the
be
store in Pine Knob.
Yep, I think that could be arranged without any problem. You know, my dad built the store in 1938. And there's been a lot of checker games played there.
It's a beautiful setting. I can't wait to come back, watch it play.
Well, it's all natural. We have tried to keep things in a natural state here and let people come here and enjoy the reality of Pine Knob and see it the way that I've seen it all my life growing up here. You know, there's some of us that are still the descendants of those people that settled this area, and we stayed here. But this is the first time, Tom, in time, that there is a new influx of people from out of state that are not related to folks here. And for the very first time, Pine Knob is going through a change. It's not necessarily a bad change, but you have to remember that your family and my family, some of the folks stayed here, but some of them couldn't find work here, and they had to move on to Louisville or even all the way to California. We had relatives that left here, went to California also, in Indiana and so forth. Their homes are now in other states and other counties, and they're not really, Pine Knob is really not their home anymore.
Here in Pine Knob, it seems kind of like time's just kind of glazed over it, and it just kind of missed this place. And because it has, it's kind of something special. It's left something special here.
We've had over 400 performers perform here at Pine Knob. Our first Doc Brown is now Muse Watson, who is the bad guy, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and he's been in Something to Talk About in several movies. We've also had Morgan Rocky perform here, and Morgan's been in the Alamo and also the patriot movie along with Mel Gibson. Most of the folks that come here and perform, though, are local folks. They come as far as Nashville, come as far as Bowling Green, Owensboro, Louisville, Kentucky. We're non-professional actors, but I looked up the definition one time to the word professional and the word amateur, and the professional says they do it for the money, and amateur does it for the love. So I think I'd rather have the amateurs perform than have the professionals perform. And he's generally pretty friendly. When we have the show, a lot of times people stand around here, and he'll fly up on a rail and walk around for them to strut, show off. And he actually tries to get in the concession stand when the windows are open and he knows where the popcorn is.
Get in there and get some of that popcorn.
Now, Tom, I know that your grandfather and my dad have played many checker games on this board. And they played with the Coke caps, and the Coca-Cola caps, you turn them up one way and upside down the other way. And I know that you probably think that your grandfather was the champion checker player here at Pine Knob. And I probably think that my dad was the champion checker player, so I think this is going to have to be the deciding factor.
Yeah, my dad used to talk about my grandpa and how that they used to come down here and play checkers on the porch.
Now, when's the last time you played a game of checkers?
Oh, it's been probably about 7 years.
Okay, it's probably been longer than that since I played.
Grandpappy, I did you proud. I did you proud, Grandpappy. I did you proud. All right, well, we appreciate you showing us around down here in Pine Knob. It's been wonderful for me, kind of getting in touch with my roots and what you've done around here to kind of keep the history of this place alive and keep the colorfulness and entertain all those people coming down here with your plays and everything. It's just a fun place to be.
Well, always come back when you can and always feel at home here. We have a saying that a lot of things have changed, but still we remain the same at Pine Knob. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Hans. Well, we come down here to the creek and doing some sniffing out for that yellow metal gold, and I'm just prospecting my way up here, thinking and scheming on where that gold would be hiding if it's in here. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of the white yellow quartz, which is usually a pretty good indicator of gold, but I am seeing a lot of this shaly broken bedrock. Now, it's been raining here, so the water's a little bit muddy, but you can see this bedrock right through here that's all broken. These are good places where you've got this bedrock to do a little suction dredging and clean these little cracks out right here. But this spot right here looks a little interesting. I'm going to take my first panful right here. This is a pretty good sized boulder here, and you got a little eddy in behind it, so you got some material that's stacking up behind there and acts like a riffle inside of a sluice box. So I'm going to go after some of this stuff and just take my first pan and see what I come up with. And it's kind of just loose stuff here, but let's just take a look, see what she looks like. And I'm going to take it down here kind of fast because I'm just sample panning. And get in here behind the rock. That's not looking too good. A lot of loose material, hardly any black sand, just blonde sand. Now I know why this area is really not known for gold. No color. All right, well, let's keep looking. Here's another big boulder right here. And this is maybe some bigger rocks, because that stuff there might be a little loose, but we just took a look there in that. So I'm going to try and work out some of this stuff back behind this big boulder and see if I can't get any color in this stuff. Work that stuff right back in here. Let's try a little of this stuff here. A little more clay material. Break that up, wash that around, clean that stuff up, slurry it. If there's any gold in there, we'll work it down to the bottom. Let's work it on down. Oh, wow. Just a lot of blonde sand and a few heavies. Starting to see a few heavies. Now notice when you take and these gold pans with the big bottom like this, you could fan the material and you can slurry it like that. You just circle it around, and then that right here on the leading edge is where your heavies are going to be at. But maybe just a a small smidgen, just a tiny piece of gold. Tiny, tiny. Right there. See it? Can you see? You probably can't see it. It's really, really tiny. Now I'm guessing that this gold that would be in here probably isn't indigenous to Pine Knob, but it's glacial drift gold. Many, many years ago there were glaciers here that covered this area, and the glaciers were bringing gold down with them and depositing it here, and it's in these creeks and stuff. It collects itself up in certain locations. Now with that little bit of gold right there, where there's a little, there's a lot. In some place out here, it's pocketing itself up, but I wouldn't be surprised that you could, over time, work in and find a nice little pocket. But there's a little bit of yellow gold. You see this bedrock right here, hard, solid bedrock. And then right down behind it, you got this grass growing in here, and that acts kind of like a carpet inside of a sluice box. It would be trapping gold. A lot of places you get that. If I get down in here without flipping here and falling in the water, I'm gonna pull some of this grassroots stuff up here. Oh, it's locked in there tight. Now I'm gonna take and clean some of this stuff out over here. Clean it, break it right up into my gold pan. Like a carpet, just like a carpet. Grassroots gold. See how the dirt's all stuck down in there? Break that stuff up. I want that front edge of that stuff. Let's take a look, see what this stuff's got in it. This looks pretty promising. Not very much material, but good quality stuff. Now I'm looking at that, that looks like a little heavier type of material. A little bedrock in there. Some more black rocks. More of that light sand. And a piece of gold! A piece of gold! Actually, a couple of pieces of gold. Small little pieces of gold. You see that right there? One piece, two piece. I thought I saw another one in here. That right there, that's a piece of lead. Another piece of lead where you got the heavy lead starting to fall out. There's another piece of gold right there. There it is! Kentucky gold! Another piece of lead right there. Heavier stuff. Yeah, that's acting just like a carpet in a sluice box, sucking it all down in there. I'll bet you there's more pieces of gold right down in there, but that's yellow gold right there. Well, I got my snuffer bottle. I'm gonna snuffer bottle that up, and that's what I come to get. Let me take that over there into one side. Beautiful, beautiful Kentucky yellow gold. Put a little squeeze on my snuffer bottle. Suck that stuff. Oh, that piece goes right up in there. And now I got my Kentucky gold. That's what we come to get. Well, we're gonna go and poke around some more. We got some more places to explore here in Kentucky, and wouldn't be Kentucky if we didn't take a venture back into the coal mines of Kentucky. Go underground again. There's gold.